iliac crest. So, you know, some of the couple of things lower back. Let yourself realize about the dynamic of the sides and the front of the body too in lower back. Right now I'm working in the soft tissue just below the 12th rib and just above the iliac crest, so that we can start getting a sense of the musculature from the midline out, the erectors, multifidus, quadratus, and laborum. But one thing about sideline work, because of gravity, we can get a little bit easier into the area. Pressure's okay? Got the advantage of floor work is that we can do some nice compression. One of the things that affects the lower back too is the aponeurosis. Yeah? Thick connective tissue that connects in and around the sacrum. And because it is mostly fascia, that we want to have more of a sustained pressure into the aponeurosis so that it changes its viscosity here a little bit.
There's so much black between the two of you that in terms of filming, I had a hard time. I was like, oh, he's got his knee against there.
Into the void. Nice thing coming down into the lateral border of longissimus here. In sideline work, it can really help release the lower back.
And as far as the meridians go, about that?
This is a bladder meridian. The bladder meridian, one of the channels of energy, it's the only one that splits in two, so it runs on either side of the spine in two parallel lines. And primarily, with a little variance, the inner bladder meridian is more in the laminar groove, sort of. So it's roughly on the medial border of the longissimus, where the outer bladder meridian is on the lateral border. And the way Chinese medicine looks at the inner and outer bladder meridian as far as function is that the inner bladder meridian has to do more with the more esoteric spiritual aspects of the body. And when you move out to the outer bladder meridian, it has to do more with the motor skills and the physical aspect of the body. So working the outer bladder meridian here a little bit for some of the physical pain, even though we all know that usually a lot of physical pain is rooted in some of the more spiritual, emotional aspects. Lower back, particularly support, just in general, support you feel in your life or that's been taken away from you, things like that. The lower back can react to that quite easily. And in working the inner bladder meridian for lower back, one thing is that not only working this way, but you all remember from your anatomical studies, they used to call them, back in the day, the more intrinsic, deeper postural muscles, and those would be like the inner transversories and the rotatories, the ones that go from transverse process to spinous process and things like that. Those muscles have a lot to do with the movement of the individual vertebra. So if lower back pain is being caused by some sort of displacement of the lower vertebra, or else some constant strain, mostly on the transverse process because of the attachment of the musculature, that working down into the spine at an angle addresses those muscles. If you can't remember them too well, next time you're in front of an anatomy book, look at them and see how those angles are. You know, they mostly run like this, but there's also some ones at 45-degree angles, and that sort of dictates how you position your thumb to work in those. They're really rather dynamic in loosening lower back. Pressure's okay, Kevin?
Yeah, that's great.
Hmm?
Yeah, that's good. Not a lot of movement in there right now.
No. Now, I'm going to do a stretch here And you know, again, somebody said psoas, and the dynamic of its effect on lower back, pretty significant, I would say. So we're going to do a stretch here, and again, you have to think about your own foundation. Again, the premise of taking care of yourself before you proceed forward. So this is a simple stretch where it's using your leg to support the lower back, and then as you bring this leg back, you bring your leg up so that you can use that as a support, so that you can just easily support it. And in working this particular thing, you want to have a longer sustained stretch to allow the person's body to open up. And you notice here how I am in position to Senor Cosmo, that I am directly behind the work here so that I can use my body weight in smaller increments as I lean back to have a longer sustained stretch without really exerting much physical effort on my part, so that you can stay in your breath more and keep your sense of heightened awareness going on so that you can perceive what's going on. There you go, bro. So let's take a nice breath and exhale. And I'm just going to go into that a little bit more. You do yoga. You work out. How are we going? You want to go into that a little bit more?
Yeah.
Okay, so inhale again. Exhale. So it's just your weight shifting, but this is lovely for that area. And as you know, Bob can attest to, or anybody that's done Thai work, I mean, there's so many different variations of the stretch. But the ones I've been allowing myself to focus on more are more of the simpler, more grounded ones that I can hold longer with the least amount of effort. Because you want to have your effort converted into your breath awareness so that you can be present with it. That's the thing. That's what we've been talking about today, as far as just allowing ourselves to not think about what you're going to do next, or what, but just let yourself be in your breath and let that dictate the stretch. Now here. It's okay.
Yeah.
So notice the support here. How's that, man?
Great.
See where my knee is, y'all? Oh man. And this is a lovely stretch. I mean, and again, anytime you can initiate some natural contact, meaning look at the arch of the foot, right here, natural.
Hey, Randy, can you tell us where your knee is?
My knee is in the ass.
Okay. I'm just saying, because you have black pants on against black shorts.
Loops right there.
Back to knees.
So, and I'm basically the contour of my knee fits in there, in that concavity between the lateral border of the sacrum and the greater trochanter of the femur. So you're going in the belly of piriformis mostly, addressing the lateral rotator. So that's just going to open up the hip that helps balance the lower back. And this nice locked grip, so you're just leaning back.